There's a passage of a book that was brought to my attention not too long ago. This book is called The Construction of Homosexuality by David F. Greenberg. Now, I'm assuming that's a Jewish fella, and I'm quite sure that this guy is well versed on the homosexual arts and history, and we was Romans, we was Norse pagans too, as we are about to find out. So, all things fag, all things sodomite, this individual knows about. I don't understand. Esoteric Trumpists, they're anti-Christian, pro-gay. Jews, anti-Christian, pro-gay. You'd think they'd get along nicely. You would think that they're run by the same people. Anyway, it says this. It says about a practice known as Seder. It was by this means that he could fathom the fate of men and of events still to come, and also to speak to men of their deaths or misfortunes or illnesses, and also to take away from men their intelligence or strength in order to give it to others. But the use of this magic is accompanied by so great a degree of effemination that men were of the opinion that they could not give themselves up to it without shame, so that it was to the priestesses that it was taught. Now, this is, again, pagan shit. Somebody taught Odin and Aesir the magical technique known as Seder. Again, I have no idea why people are into this shit. Like, I'm reading it and I'm just like, what, this isn't foreign and ridiculous to you? And I could read before that. I don't know who taught this to Odin, but he learned it. He learned from a woman. See, I'm now, by looking at these ancient religions of what was to become Europe, I understand now why Europe is so fucked up. Here you have Odin being taught this technique by a woman. He is subservient to a woman. Learning a technique, some sort of weird technique, that will give him knowledge of the fate of men and of events still to come, but it'll make him more effeminate. Why do you think feminism has taken such a strong hold in Europe? Why do you think European women in general have taken such a liking to feminism in both theory and practice? Well, here you go. Here's one very early example of it. So it gets better. It gets better. And also this technique creates effeminacy within those who learn it. Except for Odin and Loki, the Aesir held Seder in contempt. So Odin and Loki wanted to become little bitches. The intensity of feeling against Seder may be gauged from and by the way, I don't give a fuck if I'm pronouncing that wrong, so save your comments. May be gauged from an episode in another saga, the Heimstringla, when Haraldur of the Shining Locks learns that his son had become a Seder master. He sent another son who burned his brother together with 80 Sademen, and this action was much praised. It is more than a little puzzling that a practice associated with major deities, Freya, Odin, and institutionalized in a religious cult should be the subject of such profound contempt and violent repression. Several scholars have proposed solutions to the puzzle based on the observation that the Vanir and Aesir, or the Vanir, whatever, are associated with different realms of human concern and activity. The Vanir are gods of fertility, prosperity, and sensual pleasure, while the Aesir are concerned with government and arms-bearing affairs, warfare, hunting. Some of these scholars interpret the war between the gods as an euhemeristic representation of an actual war between a Neolithic farming population and a tribe of nomadic warriors. Others as an expression of latent tension between functionally differentiated strata, farmers and ruler warriors, of early Indo-European society. In the former view, the war ended in compromise and political unification. But the religious and cultural differences between the antagonists persisted. In the latter view, these differences reflect the divergent values of the two social strata. A reconstruction of the Germanic social structure by Price points to the latter interpretation. Among many German tribes, though not all, land was not divided at death. Only the son who had inherited his father's land could marry. Other sons left the homestead, underwent hazardous initiation rites at adolescence, and if they passed, joined a religious society or club of ranked warriors dedicated to Wu-Tan. Or is that Wotan? Is it Wu-Tang? They wore animal skins, engaged in sword dancing, I'm sure, and spent their time hunting, fighting on foot, robbing, and in idleness. In fighting, they intimidated foes with their ecstatic, possibly drug-induced frenzies. See, drug use is the Aryan way. Look, our ancestors did it. It's a very, very good way of being. Hold on, I need a sip of my water, because I am a 300-pound juice spick who is somehow also a self-hating white. Where did I leave off? If they inherited the family homestead, they left the club, and only then were they allowed to marry. Otherwise, they remained bachelors for life, because women were expected to abide by strict rules of chastity and were punished severely for violating them. Heterosexual outlets were virtually foreclosed. This division between farmers who could marry and hunter warriors who could not may have had adaptive value in limiting population growth during the centuries when the German tribes failed to expand their agricultural lands by clearing forests. It is presumably within the warrior clubs that institutionalized pederasty was practiced. Yeah, and these people bitch about Christianity being dysgenic. You're creating a bunch of traumatized future bug chasers. That's not dysgenic by raping little boys. Oh, but they're warriors. They can handle it. Fuck. That's what we want to go back to. Yeah, that sounds like the good old days. Let's go back to the days before we created this neoliberal globalized hell world. Yeah, we could rape our children in peace, our boy children in peace. This is what people want. Like, look, I get it. You don't like the world you live in, and you shouldn't. But this isn't the solution. That's not even my main point here. So continuing after the pederast thing, it is a reasonable inference that it had common antecedents with ritualized pederasty in archaic Greece. In either interpretation, discrepant attitude towards male effeminacy originated in the differences in values between planters and hunters. Satyr, which involved sex change and homosexuality. So is this what retards like Richard Spencer mean when they say that this has been a part of European culture for millennia? Yeah, this is what we want. This is what we want to promote, tolerate, accept, proliferate. So, ancient sex changes in homosexuality was associated with the Vanir or fertility function and thus found a place among the planters. The Naharvali, whose transvestite priest Tacitus described, lived far from the border with Rome and attached less importance to military matters than to agriculture. Not architecture, agriculture. Professional soldiers often hold women and womanly things in contempt, and the low status of the goddesses among the Aesir was compared to that of their counterparts among the Vanir. Suggests that this was true of the Norse and German aristocratic warriors. To the latter, to be woman or like one was to be an inferior being. Okay, so Odin, he wanted to become more womanly, but that's somehow inferior. These people couldn't make up their minds. Thus, Flosi mocks Skarp Hedin in Njal's saga by claiming that his beardless father Njal, I don't know these stupid ass names, looks like a woman. His beardless father looks like a woman. The sex change that was acceptable among the farmers was repugnant to the warriors devoted to the Aesir. So you know what? Dickie Spencer and Grinder Greggy, they're all right. They are all correct when they say this is a part of European culture. We need to bring it back. We need to accept it because it's part of our past. And this is the past that they yearn for, so many yearn for, and you see it now. You see it now in all these people who are praising transsexuals for having the same similar political rhetoric as them. They want to be like this. They already are like this. We've regressed. We've regressed to this. This backwards way of being. We pagans now, huh? We is pagans. We was pagans. We is pagans. This is some deep, deep dysfunction. that we see fit to revive for some reason. It continues saying, farmers are often reluctant to go to war because they are needed at home to tend to crops. This reluctance was manifested in Scandinavian culture. Tacitus described the Swedes, whose chief god was Freyr, as peace-loving, and indicated that during the annual fertility ceremonies, the Germans were required to put away all weapons. Warfare was prohibited during this period. Full-time warriors might have seen this antipathy to war as due to cowardice. Well, not much has changed with the Scandies, have it? Not really. The American Indian cultures demonstrate that warfare and hunting need not always entail the subordination of women or the stigmatization of male effeminacy. But among the ancient and, see, this is where he's tying it back to Whitey. His Jewishness is boiling over now. But among the ancient Norse and German bachelor warriors, they did. Their contempt for women may have been a psychological. Their contempt for women may have been a psychological adaptation to enforced lifelong bachelorhood, necessitated by inheritance rules under conditions of land shortage. Odin's acceptance of Satyr remains curious. As an Aesir and a war god, he should have wanted nothing to do with it. Yet he became a practitioner. A passage in Havamal provides a clue. And it's some dumb poem that I'm not going to read. Well, I'll read it. I ween that I hung on the windy tree, hung there for nights full 9. With the spear I was wounded, and offered I was to Othin, myself to myself. On the tree that none may ever know, what ruth beneath it runs. None made me happy with load or horn, and there below I looked. I took up the runes, shrieking I took them, and forthwith back I fell. Then I began to thrive, and wisdom to get, I grew, and well I was. Each word led me to another word, each deed, another deed. Let me go back to that. Among the ancient Norse and German bachelor warriors, they did. They had contempt for women. Their contempt for women may have been a psychological adaptation to enforce lifelong bachelorhood necessitated by inheritance rules under conditions of land shortage. Well, we don't have any weird ritualistic inheritance rules now in the present day, but you see this all throughout the internet. You see, like I read earlier, 1 in 6 young men don't have a job. Now, it's pathetic that your sense of self-worth comes from having some stupid job and having money in your bank account. It should be your conduct, your soul. The composition of your soul should be your source of self-worth, but for a lot of people, a lot of soulless, materialistic people, that's just what it is. So what do? They develop some Twitter persona, or they go on some image board and they post about, they get into porn, and then more depraved porn once the effect from the other porn wears off, and on it goes until this is their perception of women. This is not how women are supposed to be perceived. And they know it's wrong, which is why they begin to have contempt for women. So they go on to weirder and weirder things, thinking that they'll find some innocence, some decency, some righteousness in another group of people, a more deviant group of people. Like men who have breast implants pretending to be women and they have penises. So they go on to that group. And then on it goes, and they're like, oh, we need artificial wombs, man. And so their contempt for women goes. So in this day and age, it has nothing to do with inheritance rules. It doesn't have anything to do with being a lifelong warrior. Nothing like that. It has to do with them. Their own dysfunction. It's all their fault. It's their burden to bear, and they won't. They won't do it. They won't fix themselves. They won't learn how to have functional relationships with the opposite sex. And this moral trajectory mostly applies to young white men. Young white boys, really. They're of age, most of them, but they're not men. They're not men at all. And it's sad. It's not the end of the world, it's just the end of this one. Our corner of it. If this continues. And do I have any reason to believe that it will stop? It will reverse itself? They'll repent? The answer is no. None of them are improving themselves. They expect Donald Trump to do it for them. That's literally all they're living for, to see if Trump gets elected, and then what? They're not going to change. They're going to be the same person as they were from one administration to the next. And when they realize that, we are in for it's either sink or swim. They'll either adjust accordingly and realize, wait, this didn't change my life at all. Or, they'll freak out even more and turn themselves into something even worse that I don't want to really imagine right now. So, in the pagan days and the present day, what's changed? We're at the same low, horrible level. Ew, girls have cooties. Ew. It's a rationalization. And that's really what a high IQ does for you. And it's sad. That's all they use it for. Use your high IQ to rationalize your crippling dysfunction. So, continuing. In one view, sacrifices to gods are always symbolic representations of the sacrificer who gives up his self only to have it returned to him strengthened. Here Odin sacrifices himself to himself, thus gaining the ability to understand the runes. A careful analysis of the sources for this myth demonstrates that Odin did not sacrifice his entire self, just his semen, which he had stored up before the ordeal through sexual abstinence. He didn't sacrifice himself to himself, just his own semen to himself. Odin was a faggot. Oh man. Comparable techniques for gaining mystical power occur in Hindu mythology. In a warrior society, power is associated with masculinity, which semen represents. It stands for the essence of the male individual. Special powers are ingested by acquiring the semen of someone who already has these powers. Because Odin was heterosexually active, he was in danger of depleting his semen, the source of his powers, and therefore he had to replenish his supply from time to time. The myths tell us that he did this by visiting corpses hanging from gallows. Get this, everyone. Listen, understand. On these visits, Odin drank the semen ejaculated by the hanged men. Odin was a faggot. 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 As an acer, no wonder why all of these fucking white people are queers, all these fucking esoteric Trumpists. Memes are our DNA, the DNA of the soul. Yeah, that's what your soul is. A semen drinker. As an acer who could change his shape usually into that of an animal, we was wolves and shit. Yeah, this also explains the furry thing, doesn't it? And who gained arcane knowledge by swallowing semen, there was only a small step to changing sex and playing a female role in homosexual encounters. Moreover, though Odin was a war god, he fought with magic rather than physical prowess, and thus had nothing to lose from feminization. We was women too and shit. Changing sex and shit. His followers who fought with muscle and magic did. By the way, I'm actually looking at this on Google Books. This is on page, this particular part is on page 248. It's all cited. It's all there. So, there you have it. There you have it. And so as we move on from that abomination that reflects quite accurately where we are today in our culture, we go to another one. One that's more widespread and dysfunction that's more widespread, more common, more, I don't know. It's accepted, that's for sure. I'm talking about transgenderism. And some Twitter account I was following posted a link to this saying like, oh, $1 will help. Needless to say, I unfollowed. It was a GoFundMe link, and it says this: help Frank transition. Some girl who thinks her name is Frank. And it says, my name is Frank, and I'm a trans guy. I live in a very conservative state, and have been raised by pretty conservative parents. My coming out to them wasn't a pleasant experience, and I've since been pushed back into the closet when it comes to family. When it comes to family, it probably meant. I'm almost old enough to move out and start my transition, seeing as my family refused to allow me to see a gender therapist or even begin my transition. Transition is almost in my grasp, but one thing I lack is the funding. I'll need to pay for new clothes, including a better binder, which in my Vine marathon collecting for that, I figured out that a binder is something they use to smush their titties in with. So she'll need to pay for new clothes, including a better binder, a packer, plus a STP. I don't know what an STP is, but a packer, I think, is like a fake penis they put down there to make it look like they have a bulge, which tells you where they're looking. So just think about that next time you're like having right-wing meetups with your tranny friends. They're looking at your dick. Or I don't know, maybe they want that. I don't know. Not you, but those kind of people I'm talking about. So she'll need to pay for new clothes, a better binder, a packer, HRT, hormone replacement therapy, name change, and hopefully in the future, top surgery, getting her tits cut off. At the moment, I'm focused on clothing, name change, and HRT. My family will not support in my transition, so I'll have to do this out of pocket. Any and all donations will help, even if it's just a couple bucks. So, I heard a long time ago that where there is one, there is many. And I thought that was really smart. And I've tested it. I've tested it out. So we're on GoFundMe here. This is the $80 of a $2,500 goal. So $80 of a $2,500 goal to turn this, to ruin this girl's life. To not give her what she needs, but give her fulfillment of her perverse wants and desires. Are there more of her out there? More like her out there? Are there more of her? And so I went on GoFundMe, just as I'm about to do now. I typed in trans. Get this. Over 2,300 results for trans. Collins top surgery, which as we know is boob removal surgery. $1,200 raised by 48 donors. Another one that's for bone marrow transplant. It just says bone marrow trans as an abbreviation. An actual problem, one that deserves to be solved, is about 25% raised by 27 donors. So this guy, he needs a bone marrow transplant. You can find 27 donors for that. But this fucking retard wants to get her tits cut off. She finds 48 donors for that. Corey's facial feminization surgery. From Portland, Oregon. What a great white city that is. It says, Corey's facial feminization surgery. It's about 75% raised. 27 donors, the same amount as the bone marrow transplant, the gentleman who needs new bone marrow. Trans boy in need. And this kid looks like she's like 15, if I had to guess. Campaign not found, of course. Why not? You take it down out of shame. Gotta move this over. All right. So you took that down out of shame. Oh, help 100 homeless trans people. $805 raised for that. What was this? Dikey? Dikey? What kind of name is that? Help get Dikey to South Africa. My name is Dikey Gurrell, and I'm a dark-skinned, black, transgender, non-conforming queer femme who is the descendant of enslaved Africans, and somehow you are living less of a dignified life than them. Oh, they're ashamed of you. Oh, how about this one? Lose top surgery fund. Get this one. $9,192. Raised by 163 people, $9,192 to get this idiot's boobs chopped off from New Hampshire. As a YouTube channel, you can learn more about my journey and transition here on my YouTube channel. I don't share my story for accolades or self-indulgence. I'm not going to do that. And I'm not seeking attention. I've chosen to document parts of my journey. See, every time you're doing something crazy and dysfunctional and embarrassing and abominable, you just say journey I'm telling a story. I'm going on a journey of self-discovery. Just say that and everybody, there are people somebody donated $525 to this idiot. Somebody donated $500 to this idiot. Guess the race, by the way. Not black queer femme like the last time. Nope. A local trans boy needs help. Yeah, you do need help. Hello, my name is Elliot and I'm from Arizona. I'm a transgender boy. I'm asking for donation towards my transition. My mother is supportive of me, but we don't have the money. Okay, where's the dad? Another fucking single mom bullshit, right? God, it's like there's so many problems. So many problems that you just can't say like, oh, well, if we just had white people, they'd all be gone. Because aside from that queer trans whatever non-conforming that's an African descended from slaves, no, all of them are white. You can't wave away the problems of divorce. You can't wave away the problems of transgenderism, of sodomy, by just saying, well, if we just had white people, it would all be okay. Sorry, doesn't work like that. Here we are. We go from New Hampshire to Arizona to fucking wherever. Where's the other one? Massachusetts. All these white-topias. And you have these crazy, insane people. Oh, they just need a factory job, right? Give me a fucking break. What's wrong with them cannot be cured by a factory job. By repetitive labor. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work that way. Get Zane a car. Oh, this will be a good one. From Texas. This says, it's like furry elven shit. My name is Zane. I'm a trans guy living in East Texas. So you're a woman. I could tell that just by the thumbnail. You don't. Oh, you have problem glasses and a septum piercing and a lip piercing. Wow, you're so manly, dude. So it says. See, I'm getting AIDS just reading this. My name is Zane. I'm a trans guy living in East Texas. I currently live with my mother and her fiance. I've just started my second week of working 43 hours a week, which is exhausting, but I'm trying to save up to move out. The fiance and I have had occasional altercations in the past. He is passive-aggressive and flips out when I don't immediately clean up after myself. Oh, a guy who gets into a relationship with a chick that thinks she's a dude. He's a little weird. He's not too stable. Oh, I'm all sorts of shocked. It's not like I could have figured this out for myself. No, that's really sad. No, you don't attract that kind of attention by virtue of who the fuck you are. Nah, it's not your fault, you fucking whore. So he is passive, or is this another trans girl? And this is like a lesbian relationship, and they're like, look, we're gay boys, because the people do that. There's something I noticed in doing the Vine marathons last year, and I think I released a couple this year. But there's something I noticed. They all want to be gay. They want to be sodomites because who else is cooler? What better thing is there to be in the eyes of present day culture than a sodomite? So many of them will say that they're trans boys, but they still like boys because they're gay. Not making this up. You can go watch it for yourself. So, the fiance and I have had occasional altercations in the past. He is passive-aggressive and flips out when I don't immediately clean up after myself. He throws boxes in my room, stacks my dirty dishes from the night before in my doorway, etc., etc. Well, now he has escalated to threatening me. Yeah, because... Okay, I don't know who this person is. So I'm not going to speculate anymore. But either way, it's pretty fucked up. It's very fucked up. So this dipshit says, Zane. What kind of name is that? I need to save up money to buy a car. My current car is broken and would cost thousands of dollars to get back up to working shape. My dad has pledged $500 to the car fund, and I'm working full-time, so I should be able to get it within the next 2 months, but I fear for my safety. I need your help to get me out of this situation. I'm taking art commissions, and any donations you can spare would be incredibly appreciated. you have more problems than, oh, I'm trans. No, that's your biggest problem right there. What does it say? Your vibe attracts your tribe. You attract abusive shit heaps because you are an abusive shit heap unto yourself. Oh, here's another one. Ollie's Top Surgery Fund. Fully funded, almost fully funded. It's like 80% of the way there. $1,600 by 39 people. What's the math on that, by the way? Let's do quick math here. So I can't do that off the top of my head. I'm not locked into that zone. $41 each. But I want jobs to come back to America. I want people to have even more money to spend on stupid shit like this. Pay for me to chop my boobs off. Fund my boob chopping experiment. I need top surgery. And then another one, Zoen, who has a bunch of tattoos, like a shitty beard, like all these trannies do in their late stage hormone treatment. Yet they still have the most feminine mannerisms. Their shoulders are still sloped like a lady usually is. So this person has raised $3,123 by 68 people. I'm an FTM. Here's another one. Raised $3,651 by 75 people. And that idiot's asking for $10,000. Didn't make it. But still, that's a hell of a lot of money. $3,600. Think of all the things you could do with this $3,600. That's so much money, I don't even know where I'd start. TransFitCon. Wait, hold on. Is this... What's this now? Oh, it's FTM Fitness. And there's another black guy. So you got like two blacks, and like the rest of them are whites. And there have been a lot of whites. Ones I haven't read. And again, to remind you, I am searching for trans on GoFundMe. And I'm seeing tens of thousands of dollars wasted by hundreds, if not thousands of people. Seeing value in people chopping off their boobs. Or penises. I haven't seen any men yet. At least not that I remember. Make LGBTQ ally businesses viable. And they have like a safe space sticker on their fucking thing. Safe space. HB2 is a law in North Carolina that legalizes discrimination against the LGBTQ community. Everything has... Oh yeah, that's another word. Journey, community... Synergy? No, that's too corporate. Yeah. Journey, storytelling, community. Let's do that. You can cover up the stink of your shit. And most people go along with it. This person raised how much money? $911 by 36 people. So, the law mandates at the bat, blah, blah, blah. We already know. It's unconscionable. A trans woman would be forced by law to use the men's room. Our safe space stickers are our way of protesting HB2 in a positive fashion. Oh, I'm sure. HIV positive. If you saw that coming, I'll be a little less predictable next time. These stickers are meant to bring people together and provide a safe and welcoming space to all members of our communities. It is a movement in solidarity. Where you see the sign, you belong and you know that you are supporting a business that values human rights and equality. No, they value queer supremacy. Fag supremacy, sodomite supremacy. That's what you... Just say what you mean. Alright? Every one of your actions indicates that you think you are better than everybody else. Just say it. Say it so we know how to deal with you accordingly. And we can say, hey, look, they hate you. They think you're better than you. This is also a super cool and exciting way for local businesses to form positive alliance and operate in solidarity against HB2. Go fuck yourselves, you fucking faggots. Like, God. It's like everything is about them. Like, oh, somebody doesn't like us. That's hate. We just love each other. Why would you hate us for loving people? You hate us. Any criticism of us is hate speech. Notice that. Oh, here's another one. Help a trans boy get top surgery. How old is this kid? Oh, campaign URL not found. So they took it down. What's, please give support LGBTQ rights. How much are you asking for here? because they have $2,800 raised out of $95,000. Nigga, are you kidding me? Are you serious? 2 whites, by the way. Please donate now. End bigotry against the LGBTQ community. It's more important now than ever on the heels of recent events. Scotty and Marcy are speaking out to raise awareness about what it is to be transgender and how to navigate relationships after coming out. These depraved faggots are asking for $95,000. For what? And the fact they got 1 red cent out of the whole thing makes me puke. Prairie's Transition Fund. Oh wait, what's this? This is like a white girl wanting to be Nathalie has to move. Raised $950. It's like it looks like a white girl trying to make herself up look. It's like another Rachel Dolezal thing, transracial thing. She's just. Yeah, this has to be like a super team light skin kind of thing. All right, so we'll just put that in the black column. Why not? We are in a race war after all, and whites are winning. But Prairie below that is definitely white. It's a dude. You can tell. You can tell he wants to get his dick chopped off. Christopher's Top Surgery Fund, another depraved woman wanting to get her boobs chopped off. Help a struggling trans person to live, another white person. What else? FTM Trans Top Surgery, another whitey. Damien's FTM Top Surgery, another whitey. Another trans whitey. Ooh, an interracial trans couple here. That's very, very current year. And then a Jamaican trans woman above that. Testosterone help, another white girl wanting to ruin herself. This is insane. That's all there is to say about it. Do you want it or you don't? Yeah. I know we like to rationalize and say it doesn't affect you, but it's affecting me right now. My chest hurts. So what else is there? We can go to Public Health Watch, the best subreddit out there right now, at r/Public Health Watch. 2 siblings get sexually abused, one becomes a lesbian, the other a heroin addict. This is a reminder of how degeneracy begets degeneracy, why our sub exists. Yeah. Is it that much of a surprise? I mean, like, so many examples of just sexual things leading to unhealthy lives. And we think it's some innocent thing. I think it's just some great thing. And what else? Mother and daughter marry after degeneracy becomes social norm. I'll be talking about that one. Italy decriminalizes public masturbation. I'll probably be talking about that one on Common Filth Radio as well. Low energy druggie depends on Coke and Adderall to get through a day. Coke as in cocaine, I'm assuming, given that it's a lowercase c. Yeah. Guy abused by his dad in every way possible ends up gay with a much older boyfriend. Act surprised, people, or else it's considered homophobia. Yeah, let's read this one for this show. My much younger boyfriend has a daddy kink, and I'm not sure if I can go along with it. Oh, a fag with daddy issues. I'm so surprised. Please, this is me acting surprised, so I can't be homophobic. And as we know, homophobia is anti-white, and we can't be that. This is going to sound stupid, and we will now. That's your cue. That's your clue, rather. My cue and your clue as to what is to come here. So this fag says, this is 4 hours ago. Wait, this is when it was archived. Okay. This is by Daddy Kink Help. I don't know how long ago this was written, but I'm assuming pretty recently. So, it says, I'm reading now. This is going to sound stupid, I'm really not sure what to do here, Reddit. Obligatory throwaway because my boyfriend read it. So also sorry if this is jumbled or mixed up. I can't good word goods anymore, or words good anymore. Oh, you're so clever and funny. Ha ha ha. We should have you at our Anglo-Saxon dinner parties. Some background, we've been dating for 2 years, 22 and 35, and before someone starts, I know we have a large age gap. We met at a bar, and we were fuck buddies for a few weeks and became friends, and started dating soon enough. You people are so fucked up, and you don't even know it. You ask each other these questions like, oh, it's just normal. It's just a little weird, that's all. Yeah, we drink each other's jizz, but who doesn't? Ha ha ha. When I figured out he was 13 years younger than me, I was ready to break it off. He was basically a kid. I'd been in the military and back out before he reached high school. Hey, another... this is why we should stand up during the national anthem for these people. So, he has a much younger BF and has a daddy kink in him. He's not sure if he can go along with it. So... again, this depraved queer was in the military. Thank you for protecting us. Really, thank you. I mean, who else is going to do it? Some normal person who actually has some skin in the game, who might actually have a wife and kids? Nah, you just get what you want out of this deal, and don't worry about it. We'll give you all our protection. We'll protect you even more than we protect normal people. Because if anybody does anything to you, it's a hate crime. And go to any white country, that'll be the case. Homosexuals will be protected by hate crime legislation. So he'd been in the military and back out before he reached high school. Note for the people on the subreddit who really hate large age gaps, I've been able to date people, okay, blah, blah, who gives a fuck. But we stuck together and it's been incredible. He's the sweetest, nicest, funniest little shit. He's the light of my life and he saved me from a lot of dark places. You're fucking him in the ass. That's the darkest place you could possibly be. And so that's the darkest place a human could find themselves. And you're just like, oh, he's the light of my life. Because I'm intimately familiar with the texture of his butthole. That's the light of your life, you depraved fuck? God, these people are insane. Now I'm going to continue reading. Now this is relevant for the whole daddy kink. His horrible fucking father abused him his whole childhood. He was manipulative, a narcissist, a general fucking scumbag, homophobic, whatever. You name it. I'm not really going to get into the specifics, but he was physically and emotionally abusive. I think he was sexually abusive too, but I've never wanted to ask my boyfriend about it. Not because I don't want to know, but I don't want to hurt him by bringing it up. So my boyfriend had a shitty childhood. He has a few mental disorders that I, again, will not get into specifics with, and he was in therapy for a while. He currently isn't anymore, and he's been good. We've been good. Yesterday, he told me over text he was at work that he's got a daddy kink. He seemed almost ashamed of it, which is weird because we're pretty kink positive. Really? My reaction was basically, haha, really? Dick move, I know. My boyfriend didn't respond, and when he came home that day, he didn't bring it up again and seemed content not to. I didn't bring it up either because I wasn't sure how to. So, this depraved fag wants to be fucked by dad, basically, is what's going on here. That's why he dates older men. That's why he dates men in general. No sane person. There's no such thing as a sane homosexual. Sorry to say. No such thing. You have to keep them at arm's length. And you have to deal with them on a case-by-case basis because as a collective, they're dangerous. There are fewer people more dangerous than them. In fact, I'd say they're the most dangerous once they're bundled up together and they can start their fires. Keep fags at arm's length. Keep them at arm's length because they're dangerous. They're all abuse victims. They're all looking to take their rage out on somebody. And I say this because, just go back to the beginning of the show. We understand now why white people are so fucked up, why we let women take the lead. It's been happening for years, for millennia. It's a part of our culture, as some fag would say. I've noticed that a lot of people, they go out of their way to make nice with these sodomites. They go out of their way to make nice with sodomites, and I don't understand it. Maybe that pagan mythology thing gives us some insight as to why. Again, we know why in that it's historical, it has a precedent, but we don't know why. Like, why? Like, what part of the brain activates? Like, why we feel such a need to nurture those who have predisposition towards committing depraved, vile things. You don't need these people in your life because this is what they are, and worse, as we have documented throughout this project known as Common Filth. Because they are the common filth. They are the prototype of common filth. And what does it say about us white people that we accept this more than anybody? We protect this. We nurture it more than anybody. And you don't need to tell me the statistics, I know. And this can be explained by the fact that the white man is very good at rationalizing, very good at spinning. So you could say, well, technically I'm not that. I get it. Whites 3%, non-whites 4%. Jews 10%. Well, that's because they're a little more inbred than others, but, you know. Again, another form of dysfunction begetting another form of dysfunction in the case of Jewish people. But, you know, aside from Jews, that 1 percentage point discrepancy between whites and non-whites can be explained by the fact that we're better at rationalizing. We're better at lying to ourselves. So with that being established, there virtually is no difference in the rate of sodomites among different groups. None. So to see who really promotes, defends, proliferates, accepts this, we have to look at the nations, who they're mostly populated by, and what their laws say about the matter. And sorry to inform you, but it is a fact that white nations protect sodomy explicitly. It goes out of its way to protect it by giving it marriage rights, by protecting it with hate crime legislation. This is a fact. You don't see this in Mother Africa. You don't. For all their problems, they still have their instincts intact. I read recently about a protest in Colombia over this shit. They have their instincts intact. And we don't. So let's work on restoring them.